I'm really glad to be here this Sunday. I'm glad you made it through the freeway closures and everything else that stood in the way of you getting here this morning, and the fog and everything else. I want to welcome you to our weekly gathering. I'd also like to introduce our wonderful artists that we have this week. On my right, we have Mr. Willie B., who is a well-known musician here in town. He probably plays sideman for half a dozen different bands, and also has his own band, Willie B. and the Silverbacks. He has been a past nominee in the Texas Music Awards for Songwriter of the Year, Vocal Group of the Year, so on and so forth. His partner today is Ms. Kim Kyle, another wonderful local, well-known female vocalist here in town. Used to have a band called Kim Kyle and the Mustangs. And she was a front woman in her own right, and I'm really pleased they have combined today to give you a wonderful bit of entertainment. Please put your hands together for Willie B. and Kim Kyle.
Dad, you're it. You are the one. Since we've touched, the game has begun. You and I go by the rules of catch. Catch as catch can. Ain't no kids play for a woman and man. But as the night falls, it's hide and seek. I've been waiting so long for you to find me. You're getting warmer. You're getting warmer. First you're shy, then you get so cold. You heat things up, then you turn away cold. Two shadows dancing, disappear in the dark. We're lost, then found. You can double dare me. This cat ain't no mouse. Reach out your arms, I'll be there. Closer, closer to true love, my dear. You're getting warmer. You're getting warmer. Do you remember hide and seek? I've been waiting so long for you to find me. Where'd you go? I'm sneaking up. You don't see me. You're getting warmer. You're getting warmer. You're getting warmer. You're getting You all are hot. Ooh, oh, 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 oh. Very happy to be here today. We made it all through the fog, didn't we? Found our way.
Little thing called So This Is Love. It's so easy
sleep. And even if our hearts stop beating, we're emotionally caught in the cosmic groove. So this is love. As light moves, well, it brings us along with our worn out shoes from all the miles that we've gone. Through precious, wonderful time, as our ship, well, it sails into the sun. And may the face of the world never find us, but when we touch, we become one. So this is love. So this is love. So clever, put our hearts together forever. Well, I've never known anything better. So this is love. Oh, so this is love.
Willie wrote that.
Thank you. Awesome. Yeah, stay plugged in because we're going to bring you back in about 5 minutes. So
Okay.
if you want to take a seat and
Okay.
rest up. But welcome, everybody. Good to see you. This is the part in our weekly meeting where we call our community moment, where folks from our community, sometimes share a thought for the day or something that, maybe something for their personal journey towards reason and skepticism. And today we're going to invite up Gary Williams, who also happens to be the president of our board. Before I bring you up, Gary, a couple quick things. You've probably heard that we are being filmed for a documentary today. Michael, did you say the folks who absolutely do not want to be should be over there? So if you absolutely do not want to be on film, we'll ask you to kind of sit over there, okay? So, I don't know how you want to handle that. It's kind of too late now, I guess.
Anyone who really wants to make sure that they don't appear on camera, we're going to try to avoid filming that side of the room.
Okay.
But if anyone wants to just let me know, and by the end of the afternoon here and the morning, I'll make sure that we cut your face off.
Perfect, yeah, so, and then we do have childcare in the room right across the hall if anybody needs that. And so, at this time, let's welcome Gary Williams for our community moment.
Thank you, Mike. Mike called me yesterday and said, "Hey, can you do this?" So, I believe in everything on that list up there that's about Oasis. But one of the things that is really important to me is reality is known through reason, not revelation. But there are limits to human reason. If you go into Wikipedia and look at the list of paradoxes, which is out there, I don't know how many people do that sort of thing, but there are 12 pages of them. So there are things that are difficult to understand even with reason. Now the standard paradox that brings a lot of people here is, why is there evil in the world if there's an all-powerful loving God? And that's not an easy paradox to resolve, and some of us resolve it by saying there is no God. Some of us resolve it by saying he's not loving, and some of us say it's a mystery. But the point is that we have to resolve that paradox. There are other paradoxes out there that people may not be aware of. How many of you people have ever heard of Gödel, mathematician? A few people. How about M.C. Escher, painter? Yeah. Okay, how about Johann Bach? Did you know that all of their works are interlinked? Yes, there's a book out there called Gödel, Escher, Bach, which explains Gödel proofs of incompleteness in terms of music and Escher's paintings. And a large part of this has to do with the concept of recursion. Now, recursion lies at the heart of many, many paradoxes, and it's a very simple concept. Most of you have heard this. This statement is false. Is that statement true or false? If it's true, it's false, and if it's false, it's true. So the answer is we can't resolve that. And you think, okay, that's sort of trivial, and okay, maybe it's a mismade statement. But Bertrand Russell came up with, in set theory, an equivalent thing, which was the set of all sets that don't contain themselves. And by doing that, he destroyed the foundation of mathematics. They had to completely reboot it and build it from the beginning, again, in order to get around that problem. Well, Gödel took exactly that same concept and applied it to the idea of philosophy and logic. And what he came up with was a proof that said, essentially, any system that is strong enough to prove everything is inconsistent. Which means that if you guys have come up with a way, a belief system, something that you believe will explain everything that's going on, then it's probably wrong. And that's a very, very powerful thing. The universe is a lot more complicated than we think. Einstein really wanted to prove in quantum mechanics that there was real laws underneath it. But Bell's theorem shows there are something called no local variables, which means there's no little hidden things going on with the atoms underneath the little quantum particles that are moving around. They're just moving around. We can't tell what they're doing, and they can't tell what they're doing, even more so. So at the edges of the universe, there are limits to what we can understand. And that's very important. Because we think of reason as being powerful and a great tool, and it is. It's the best tool we have. Science is the best tool we have for understanding the world, but understand that it has its limits. So when you're looking at someone who believes something that's not rational, don't look at them and say, oh, I can't understand how they're like that. The world's not a very rational place when you get right down to it. It's hard to understand, especially if you're not as bright as a lot of the people in this room are. So we need to understand where people are coming from and have sympathy for them and have empathy and understand that it's a journey, and that even at the edge of that journey, there are difficult places and hard places to be. And that we should accept everybody where they are in that journey, whether they're religious, whether they're an atheist, or whether they're an agnostic, as long as they're willing to accept us back. I'm not saying that you need to accept someone who wants to kill you. But we need to understand that we all have our limits. We all have a place where we can't understand. And that we have to accept that place. For me, it's quantum mechanics. I don't really understand it. I don't really believe it, but I have to believe the people who understand it. So I have a place where my belief takes place. And that's mitigated by my reason. So anyway, that's my message for today, my place. I just want you to all to understand that no matter where you are, what you believe, that you need to understand that other people believe the way they believe for a reason. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. My takeaway lesson is, if I'm bad at math, I can blame it on Bertrand Russell.
Yes.
Okay. Yay. That's something I can use. Okay. We're going to bring back Willie and Kim for another song.
This little thing called All the Way Home.
if you're tired of wasting time, spend your only chance on a ticket to the ball, and put on your Sunday best and be prepared to fall. Save her your heart, though she might break it, and when she offers her love, you better take it. All the way home, all the way home, all the way Love likes to take her time, but when she plays your song, you don't need to know the words, just hum along. 'Cause our world's chock full of change, and it's nice to find a soul who may also be your mate, that you can have and hold on forever, and all the way home, all the way Give her your heart, though she might break it, when she offers your love, you better take it. All the way home, all the way home, all the way all the way all the way
Willie wrote that song. We're just learning it. Well, I'm just learning. He knows it. But it's really a beautiful song. So I really like that. Thank you, Willie, for letting me play this with you. You did great. And we'll get it. Y'all, we wanted to mention that. This is really important. February 16th, Fred and Linda are housing a house concert, are sponsoring, or housing, what do you do?
Hosting.
Hosting. It's early for me. I'm so sorry it's so early for me. Hosting a house concert at their house. And it's potluck dinner. It starts, what time?
Oh, we'll get that information later.
Okay.
Just save this date, Saturday, February 16th, the Thompsons' annual Valentine's Day house concert starring Willie B. and the Silverbacks, which
Yes.
is Kim and two other people.
Yeah. Yeah. Great.
What Fred said.
What Fred said. That's it. Okay, now we're gonna do a song, and this is actually a little cover song, and I just kind of want group participation here. So can you all go oh? You can do that, right? I know it's early, but we can still do that. If I had the chance, I
side, never let you go. So won't you say you love me? You'll make me so proud of you. We'll make them turn their heads everywhere we go if you will please. Be my little baby, my baby, my darling. Be my baby now. Oh, oh, oh. That's it! Yes! I'll make you happy, baby. Just wait and see. For every kiss you give me, I'll give you 3. Since the day I saw you, I have been waiting for you. You know I will adore you till eternity if you will please. Be my little baby, my baby, my darling. Be my baby now. Oh, oh, oh. So won't you please be my little baby, my baby, my darling. Be my baby now. Be my baby. Be my darling. Be my only one. Ooh, ooh, yeah. Be my baby now. Oh, 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 yes. All right, you're joining the band. Be my baby. Be my little darling. Be my baby.
I don't do this smart because I have to follow talent like that, and I should start the talk first and then get to the good stuff. But, we normally kind of take a little break and stretch our legs at this point, and but I think we're going to skip that because I have a little interactive thing I want you guys to do, a little discussion thingy at the end of the talk today. So I think I'll just get into the talk, and then and then if you guys feel bad about you standing, there might be a couple chairs. You're good? Okay. All right. I guess you saw in the news about like how the Baseball Hall of Fame didn't vote to induct anybody this year, and they say it was a response to the whole steroid thing. And now several players not known for steroid use got very close to getting in, but didn't quite make it, including Craig Biggio of the Houston Astros. So did you see on the sports page, they had a picture, or that's actually the front page of the Chronicle, they had a picture of Biggio, like this really pained expression, like he's all distraught that he didn't make it in the Hall of Fame. Now, and that was the point of the picture. Of course, bear in mind, I know how the newspapers do this stuff sometimes, and they just look for a picture they had somewhere of him with indigestion and put it up there. So but they did get a quote for him saying how disappointed he was that he didn't make it into the Hall of Fame. However, apparently anyone who gets more than 50% of the vote on their first shot at it is like almost guaranteed to make it the next time. So it's just a momentary disappointment for Biggio, and his place in history is secure. But this got me interested in the Hall of Fame, so I went and did a little reading on the Hall of Fame because I was wondering, who's in it? Well, of course, players we've all heard of: Babe Ruth, Hank Aaron, Lou Gehrig. But what struck me about the Hall of Fame list is how many players in Cooperstown I've never heard of before. Like Grover Alexander, pitcher for the Phillies, inducted in 1938. Earl Averill, who played for the Cleveland Indians, inducted in 1975. Nestor Chilak, an umpire, inducted in 1999. Have any heard of any of these guys? Well, forget it. It blows my point. Well, I hadn't heard of them. Well, that's right. Like, probably like super baseball people would know some of these things. You didn't hear of Nestor, though, did you? The umpire? Okay. And he was recent. But I was going through the list. It's like pages and pages of people I've never heard of before. And then, oh, there's Frank Robinson. I know him. But and so even though getting into the Hall of Fame is like this gigantic accomplishment, and chances are Craig Biggio is going to make it in eventually, in the final analysis, what will the ultimate impact on the course of human history be when Craig Biggio makes it into the Hall of Fame?
0.
Well, it'll be almost, well, bearing in mind Gary's lesson about causality and how complex it is, there might be some unforeseen impact, but, you know, just the biggest impact is going to happen in Craig Biggio's brain. There's going to be a huge release of dopamines and other neurotransmitters that are going to feel good for a while. And then after that, he's just going to be a plaque on the wall with Mordecai Brown and my new hero, Grover Alexander. Now, I'm not trying to take anything away from his accomplishment, because I'm just trying to put it in perspective. I mean, just that there's someone that talented, someone who has reached the peak of their profession, will end up as a footnote in history. Humanity celebrates greatness and celebrity, and we strive for great achievements, and we yearn often for recognition, but the reality is, in the long run, will mostly be forgotten, and not in a very long time either. I mean, and this is true even for presidents of the United States of America. I mean, think about it. The big chunk in the 1800s of the guys with the big beards. I mean, you know, any Benjamin Harrison fans here? You know, or I've never seen a T-shirt that says Chester A. Arthur is my homeboy. Even if you were, although I would like that Robert Ingersoll is my homeboy. I would like that because he's someone from the 19th century that we ought to know more about. And I hope that it gets rectified in future years because he was a tremendous orator. But I guess it gets to the point. I mean, there are people we should have known about that we don't know about. So what is all this striving about if all of our striving or most of it's going to be forgotten? What is the purpose of our, what's it all mean? I mean, human beings are inveterate meaning seekers. We've been hardwired by evolution to seek meaning everywhere, to see meaning everywhere, even where it doesn't exist. What book sold more copies in the past decade than any other book, and it's not the Bible?
Harry Potter.
Oh.
Harry Potter.
Nonfiction.
The Secret.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. How about?
Left Behind.
Huh?
Left Behind.
That's fiction.
That's
Purpose-driven life?
nonfiction. Purpose-driven life by Rick Warren. Pastor, okay? Sold more than 30 million copies so far, still selling. So why has this book been so popular? 2 reasons. Because we are fixated on meaning and purpose. And it's a book that purports to answer that deep yearning. Second reason is it's written at an 8th grade reading level. I mean, it really is. So that's when you want to sell books, do that. Okay, Warren's answer to the meaning of life is this, and this is the entire book. We were created for God's pleasure. We were put here on earth to do God's will in preparation for an eternity in heaven. That's the whole thing.
That's fiction.
Pardon?
That's fiction.
That's fiction. I'm not going there. Okay, but that's basically, you know, and Rick Warren is a tremendous communicator. I've met him. He's got tremendous gifts, and he has succinctly, you know, I mean, he has these powerful images like how, well, you know, this life is merely a prologue to a life that's going to be billions and billions of years on the other side of death. Well, back when I was a working preacher, I pretty much bought a lot of that. Every Easter I'd give sermons talking about how wonderful life in heaven would be, because I know people would like those sermons. That's why I gave them. And people did love them. They were very well received messages. After all, who wouldn't like to live forever? Michael Shermer, author of The Bleeding Brain, Well, some of you raised your hand when I said who wouldn't want to live forever, okay? I know, it could get tiresome, but anyway. Michael Shermer, author of The Believing Brain, prominent free thinker, I saw him in a Q&A session, it may have been at the Texas Free Thought Convention, he says when he is asked what he thinks about eternal life, Michael Shermer's answer is, I'm for it. Okay? But show me the evidence. You know, that's a good answer, actually. But the religious answer became obviously less satisfying to me as it kind of dawned on me that there was no factual basis whatsoever for all the wonderful things I claimed about heaven. And it would be nice, it would be, but I realized I had nothing to base it on. Nevertheless, watch the New York Times bestseller list. This very day, the #1 bestseller on the New York Times bestseller list is a book called Proof of Heaven. It's selling like gangbusters right now. And then there was that book, Heaven is for Real, and all of that. But the thing is, you know, this is striking a nerve with people. Last week at Oasis, radio talk show host Jeff Berg said one of the most frequently asked questions he gets as a free thinker is, how do you deal with the reality of your eventual demise if you don't know for sure that you're going to heaven? And of course, concepts like heaven and nirvana and paradise probably developed to do just that as a coping mechanism to bring us comfort, help us cope with the consciousness of our mortality. Now for me, 2 books in particular have been instrumental in helping me develop a purpose-driven secular life. And that's what I want to talk about today. A couple weeks ago I started, it was going to be part 1 of a mini-series on the science of habit formation, and we had a lot of fun with that. So those of you who are expecting a follow-up today, I apologize, but this is mainly, I started thinking about this stuff from listening to Jeff Berg talk here last week, and I got, so this is why I want to share this with you today. But one book came out last year. Oh, it's over here. The Social Conquest of the Earth by evolutionary biologist E.O. Wilson. Marvelous overview of who we are as a species, where we came from, where we might possibly be heading, our overall place in kind of the biosphere, and I can't recommend it highly enough. New York Times ranked it as one of the best books of 2012. In fact, if I weren't theistic, I'd be tempted to worship E.O. Wilson as the Messiah. But he's a great guy. But I don't know, he might be a jerk for all I know, but I like his books, okay? But in the middle of the book, so he gets off to this great start, kind of on human origins, a good summary of that. In the middle of the book, he shifts away from human beings to ants. Now, E.O. Wilson is an entomologist by training. He's into bugs. He knows more about ants than any person on the planet. Literally, this guy, he knows everything there is to know about ants. And so I thought, okay, I'm gonna cut him some slack, because I'm not really into the ant thing, but I kept reading. And then like he wouldn't quit. I'm like, enough with the ants already, Ed. I'm ready to get back to the story of humanity. But the reason he focuses on ants and humans is that we are the 2 most successful eusocial species on the planet. We both live in societies with divisions of labor that benefit the species as a whole. And I learned that the biomass of all the people, all the human beings on the planet is equivalent to the biomass of all the ants on the planet. And if you would stack up all 7 billion of us, we would fit into a 2 cubic kilometer area. That's astonishing. You think of all the humans, they just laid us up, one on top of the other. 2 cubic kilometers that would contain 7 billion of us. That's as many ants. There's 2 cubic kilometers of ants in the world too. But what I really didn't understand I did not really understand what Wilson was getting at until just the other day, when I went out to pour Amdro around a giant ant mound. This happened, okay? I lucked out, this is giant ant mound, okay? I love Amdro, I really do. I find it very satisfying to watch him take the bait and go back to the, you know, I guess it's kind of sick, but. So, well, there's like entertainment value, so I never just pour it, I like to sit and watch what's happening. So I was sitting there watching, it was a really big mound, and there was a little hole in the mound. There was like this kind of, and I looked inside this tiny hole, but it was like kind of glistening and shiny and moving. I wonder what that's about. So I poked it with a stick, and all these ants came pouring out of that little hole, and they must have been like the soldier ants, you know, protecting the nest or whatever. And you know how when you disturb an ant mound, like they rush out to kind of fix the damage, you know, and they carry these little pieces of dirt that are like the same size as they are and put them into place to repair the mound. So I'm watching all this action in the backyard, and I started thinking about E.O. Wilson, and it's not unlike us, because within our species, maybe that is the purpose. Maybe that's the role we play. Maybe all are striving. It's just the equivalent of moving a few grains of dirt to rebuild the mound. And maybe that's kind of our impact. Whether you're a dentist who's done root canals and cavities for 40 years, or whether you're a baseball Hall of Famer who no one will remember in 100 years. It's all the human equivalent of moving a few grains of dirt to keep building up the mound. Now, it doesn't sound like much. It's not as exalted as Rick Warren's claims, but I think it's real, and it means it's all essential at some level to keep the whole project going, and that's more than enough purpose for me now. That's all I need. Another book that's helped me, this is the last one I'll talk about today, is written by a guy named Viktor Frankl. How many people have heard of Viktor Frankl? He's someone you should know about. 1930s and 1940s, he was an up-and-coming brilliant psychiatrist in Vienna. Jewish. 1944, Nazis send Frankl and his wife to Auschwitz. Shortly after he gets to Auschwitz, he gets transferred to Dachau, works at slave labor, one of the most brilliant psychiatrists of the 20th century. And Frankl described the way the Nazis would attempt to break the spirits of the people in the camps by forcing the work crews to go out and do some task, and then the very next day send the crew out to undo the thing they did the day before. Like go out and spend all day digging a ditch, and the next day go back and fill it in all day long. And by making them do endless, meaningless tasks to kind of break their spirits and drain them of hope, and it was insidiously effective. Frankl decided to maintain his sanity in the concentration camp by continuing to practice psychiatry as he could, by helping other inmates. After a while, he began, and he continued to study human nature in the camp. And after a while, he said, he started seeing some recurring patterns, and he noticed that the people who survived tended to be, and I'm not talking about people who avoided the gas. He was in a work camp, not a death camp. It's not a great deal of difference. However, the thing with the Nazi work camps was that they worked them to death. And he noticed that people who survived tended to be people who were able to hang on to some sense of meaning, some sense of purpose, some reason to wake up in the morning, even in the living hell of the concentration camp. Those who perished, he said, were often the ones who had clearly given up hope. Like he said, you could see it coming when someone just lost purpose, lost meaning, lost hope, and they would pass away. In April 1945, the camp that Frankl was in was liberated by American forces. In the meanwhile, Frankl's wife, parents, and brother had all perished in other camps. So he starts life all over again, completely alone. And but he forged on, and on the basis of the experiences in the camp, he started a new school of therapy called logotherapy, existential therapy, that's still influential today. And he wrote one of the most influential books of the 20th century, Man's Search for Meaning, which is still in print. Highly recommend it. You can get it still at any bookstore. And but what was interesting, I found out, was that was not the original title of the book. The original title of the book was not Man's Search for Meaning. It was Trotzdem Ja zum Leben sagen, which roughly translates as saying yes to life in spite of everything. And I like that, because that was the gist of his insight, is that even in the most absurd, most painful, most dehumanizing conditions, life has potential meaning. We make that meaning. We forge that meaning. We make our own purpose. And if people like Frankl could find meaning and purpose in a concentration camp, if they could start life all over again after losing everything, so can we. Another thing Jeff said last week that struck me is this: the universe doesn't owe us anything. He said we have to get over that, because we often act like it does. Like, you know, all these books, even if they're not theistic, like what was the law of attraction? Like, if you think positive things, like money's going to flow into your bank account and stuff like that. And he said we got to get over this notion that the universe is indifferent to our fate. You know, as indifferent as I am to the ants carrying the Amdro bait. It's that's really how bad it is. But you know, things aren't being arranged magically in our favor. But the tricky thing about being a free thinker is this, and I think Gary kind of touched on this a little bit in his message, in his community moment. Even though we rightly reject the unprovable and, you know, immature metaphysical claims, we don't cease being human. We share the same evolutionary past as the 30 million people who bought a purpose-driven life and resonated with it. We are wired the way they are wired. We all crave meaning, we all crave purpose, and we all crave comfort. I'm still fairly new to the free thought movement, but here's something that I found a bit amusing. I'm struck by how many people in the free thought movement are into things like zombies and science fiction and the Lord of the Rings and video games and role-playing and all kinds of other fantasy-based entertainment. That is not a criticism, it's just an observation. And I think it's a reminder that underneath it all, we're all still human. And we do have a desire for the non-rational at times. There is a need at some level to believe in magic, perhaps. And what's wrong with that? Life is magical. As I was working on this message, I started thinking about all the moments in life that are somehow magical every time they happen. And I think they're different for all of us. And by magical, I don't mean weird or metaphysical or inexplicable. All I mean is full of wonder. Those experiences that fire lots of neurotransmitters and make it feel really good to be alive. And so I just started making my own list. And I'm gonna, in a minute, I'm gonna invite you to think about your own list and maybe share that with the people around you. But these are moments that always do it for me. Remember, when I was a kid, we always went on vacation every summer to Ocean City, Maryland. That was like the one vacation spot. It wasn't new vacation every year, that was vacation. You went to Ocean City for a week, and it was a blast. But I'll never forget the moment as you, because it's a barrier island like Galveston, and you drive over the causeway and get onto the island, and then the streets, you know, that cross the island would stop at the beginning of the beach. And when you would get out of the car and you would, at the end of the street, and you walk up to the top of the dune and you'd look out and see the ocean for the first time. Every single time is magic. Galveston does it for me, you know? Another one for me is, it's like that first, when you walk into the baseball park, when you go into a baseball game and you walk in and you catch that first, as you walk into the stadium and you get that very first glimpse of the field and the lights, and you sense the excitement and the fun that's going to happen. I don't know, for me, just the first glimpse of the baseball diamond at a professional stadium does it. Sitting around a campfire with friends, late at night. The folks across the street just bought a new basketball contraption for their driveway, and they've been setting it up. And the other night, I was sitting out on my front porch reading, and the little boy and his dad were checking it out. They were shooting hoops for the first time together on the brand new basketball hoop, and I wasn't really watching it, but I could hear what was going on, and all of a sudden I just heard the little boy say, he must be, I don't know, it was like 3rd grade maybe, "That was a really good one, Dad." And he said it with such joy in his voice, and it wasn't just about the shot that his dad made. What I heard in his voice was, "I'm so glad we're spending time together." And there's no place I'd rather be than shooting hoops with my dad in the driveway, is what he was saying when he said that. I don't even really know these people, but hearing that was one of the highlights of my week. Because somehow I felt better about the world just knowing there was a little boy spending some priceless time with his dad in a moment that he will probably remember the rest of his life. And that is as much magic as anybody needs. That's all I got for you today. Why don't we do a little discussion? How are we doing for time? Oh, we got time for discussion, yay, because we didn't do our mix and mingle time. Turn to the people around you, form little groups, whatever. And I apologize we ran out of name tags today because I forgot to go get some. So it's more a good day to learn the names of the people around you and welcome them. And 2 questions I'd like you to share and a little bit of interactive time. What are those magic moments in life for you? What are those moments that make life worth living? That whenever they happen, the magic happens all over again. And then how would you answer that question of purpose from the secular perspective, with your maybe theistic friends? What do you say when people ask you about, well, where's your life meaning come from? What is your answer on meaning and purpose as a free thinker? So those 2 questions, magic moments, meaning and purpose. Let's spend some time chit-chatting together and we'll come back in a few minutes.
Why don't y'all sing along? Long ago, and oh so far away, I fell in love with you before the second show. Sounds so sweet and clear, but you're not really here. It's just radio. Ready? Don't you remember you told me you loved me, baby? You said you'd be coming back this way again, baby. please come back to me. It's been a pleasure.